Welcome to another movie plot and enjoy the memories. We open in the year 3031 on a frontier planet light years away from Earth. In the small tumbleweed town of Oblivion, the beloved Marshal Stone runs things around them here parts. The semi-advanced settlement has cash machines and lampposts with fans attached, which I very much doubt counters the heat. People are terrified of the Undertaker Gaunt because he possesses the supernatural ability to foresee a person's death. He visits Miss Kitty's saloon where she holds games of digital poker and I think has a little something going on with the Marshal. She makes constant cat references like purring or filing her claws, and everything seems good in Oblivion. One day the outlaw Red Eye comes to start some crap and eats the small alien sitting atop the welcome sign. He then reduces the population on the sign before entering town, so I guess that little thing was a tax-paying resident. Busting streetlight fans with his mere presence, he buries a chunk of Darkonium in Main Street before entering Kitty's. The Marshal must accept this scaly stranger's challenge of a duel, but he has a force field built into his badge so he feels perfectly safe. Unfortunately, Red Eye makes him stand right over the Darkonium, causing it to malfunction and shoot Stone in the heart. He dies in Gaunt's massive hand as Deputy Stell comes out of the saloon but begins to do the funky chicken dance. The Darkonium causes androids to malfunction and a woman called Lash comes out to whip Stell from picking up the gun. She's the outlaw lover of the lizard and dresses like Halle Berry's Catwoman, which is still better than whatever the actual Catwoman is wearing. Speaking of, Kitty protects Stell from being destroyed by Red Eye with a few hisses and threatening hand gestures. As the posse depart, the space Mexican called Wormhole waves around the dress he ripped off Lash like a bullfighter's Musetta. At the clubhouse they discuss their evil plan to take over the town, but Bork lacks the mental faculties to understand most of it. The posse walk and twirl their way away while Red Eye stays to make some lizard babies with Lash while Spanner watches from a closet. Outside of town is our movie's protagonist Zack Stone using his divining compass to search for something. Whatever it is isn't gold because he tosses a big chunk of that away, as that's worthless to the people of this planet. Hearing the scream of a man nearby, Zack rushes to find a space Indian named Buteo has been spread eagled to the ground. A giant stop-motion scorpion approaches, but Zack shoots it to scare it away and unties the Tonto to his Lone Ranger. Buteo explains that his whole family was recently murdered and he seeks revenge on the man who did it. All he has left of them is a chunk of Darkonium inside a lead-lined locket, but he gives it away so it mustn't really matter. Gaunt has come to tell the Marshal's son that his father has been killed in a long-winded eulogy with cliff notes at the end.
He's dead.
He brings them back to Oblivion where Dr. Valentine struggles to get the Marshal's badge working after Red Eye stomped on it. He was a friend of Stone, so drowns his grief with a bottle of Jim Beam and staggers around town asking Jimmie to beam him up. Kitty cut him off, so Doc visits Mattie's general store demanding booze, but she won't sell it to him either. Valentine pulls a gun and we got a robbery in progress, but he eventually comes to his senses and shoots himself in the foot instead. Meanwhile, our main group pull up at a tavern in the middle of nowhere to sell whatever our prospector managed to scrape together. While Buster is making the purchase, Wormhole is shown handing out better red than dead buttons to convince townsfolk to join his cause. He comes over to Zack's table to taunt him about his father's death and struggles a bit before pulling out his knife. Zack doesn't want to fight, but Buteo's punched in the face by some random guy, so we get a bar fight complete with the Lollipop Guild. None of our heroes seem to be capable fighters, and no good brawl is complete without a midget kicking someone when they're down. Gaunt wanders in, so everyone runs away and Zack says that he doesn't want to shoot, but Wormhole happens to be standing right where his gun is about to go off. At the realization that Gaunt is standing behind him, our space Mexican immediately twirls his way out of the situation. Meanwhile, Mattie assists the hungover doctor when suddenly the posse enter looking to make an ally of the shopkeeper. Red Eye makes advances towards her simply because she's female and has a pulse, but she rejects the scaly Cyclops. In an act of PG-rated violence, the gang beat up everything in the store that can't fight back and leave to continue being evil somewhere else. Lash pretty much flirts with everybody except for Spanner, and when he asks why, she just rejects him as the coward of the group. Zack and Buteo are dropped off at the station by Gaunt and expect to inherit his father's fortune, but the old man was broke. They find and release Stell from her cell, and Buteo says that he's read Zack's soul and knows that he's a good man, but they've only known each other for 2 days, so he's a quick read. Stell rejects the notion of being the new Marshal since Red Eye has a supply of Darkonium that he could use to shut her down at any moment. They attend the Marshal's funeral, but since it's Thursday there's bingo going on upstairs, so you can hear people call out numbers in the background.
34.
Zack tries to give an emotional eulogy until Red Eye and his posse arrive to pay their disrespects. Stell is unable to assist because of a Darkonium ring on Lash's finger, while Buteo recognizes Spanner as the man who killed his family. Despite the intrusion, nobody fights on holy ground because Gaunt demands it and everybody just listens to him for some reason. Afterwards they lay the Marshal to rest and Stell randomly hits on Buteo because she heard that native men have big feet. Zack speaks to Mattie about her dead husband who was eaten by the scorpions and she smacks him to create some kind of tension between them. He then goes over to Valentine's to get drunk and talk about his father so that we can spend some time with the other characters. Mattie learns from Miss Kitty that Zack has a supernatural ability to feel what other people are feeling, but it doesn't come in handy at all. He left town 5 years ago after he killed a criminal, experienced his pain and vowed never to kill again. Just then Buteo comes walking in with a container and challenges Spanner to a game of who's the biggest coward. Inside is a poisonous space frog known as the Monding that will attack the biggest scaredy cat at the table. The two are locked in an epic wrestle of arms while Kermit sniffs around deciding which of them smells the most yellow. Buteo remarks that he's here to get revenge for his family and Spanner must get worried because the Monding leaps on him. Not sure why they call it poisonous since it just rips his throat out anyway before being shot to death by Bork. Buteo and him have a bit of a scuffle until the deputy arrives and puts a few bullets in the ogre's back, saving her big-footed man. Wormhole olays his way away to get the others so that when Buteo rushes outside he's captured by Lash and her electric whip. To add insult to injury she also calls him Pocahontas while Red-Eye arrives and they take the native man prisoner. Bork just sits up and shoots Stell in the back because he's apparently too dumb to die, then joins the others outside. Zack and Valentine hear the gunshots and come running out to find his partner being put on trial for murdering Spanner. Upon learning from Bork that he shot Stell, we get one of these out of the dock.
Great Scott!
Before he and Zack rush to the clinic to get her repaired and completely forget about Buteo for some reason. Valentine says that he's a doctor, not a magician, so the best he can do is bash Stell's mechanics until he gets her working again. During this the posse put Buteo in the stocks and Lash begins giving him her namesake while we're meant to believe that Zack feels all of this. They also begin harassing Mattie, so Zack picks up his father's badge, squeezes it in his hand until it bleeds for some reason, then finally decides to go outside and confront the gang. For whatever reason Wormhole thinks it'll be a good idea to pull a knife, so Zack just draws his gun and shoots the space Mexican dead. He then blows off Red-Eye's arm and starts bodying all of the townspeople that the posse have converted to their side. Along with a repaired Stell they run the rest of the traitors out of Oblivion while Bork brings an injured Red-Eye back to their hideout. Since he's a lizard he just regrows his arm while Lash kidnaps Mattie before escaping town and gives her a big old lick. Everyone celebrates their victory at Miss Kitty's until Gaunt enters to reveal that their love interest has been abducted by the posse. Zack tries to rally the town around rescuing Mattie, but none of these people care, so only our 4 main characters make the journey. They travel to the villain's lair located in the Badlands, which is a nice place to visit, but you wouldn't want to live there. Bork drags Stell away from the others and breaks her gun, but she has one in her finger and is still able to shoot him. Jack has a shootout with Red-Eye until Mattie headbutts Lash, then gets herself about halfway between them before being shot in the butt. The blood attracts one of the giant scorpions, so now Jack is fighting on 2 fronts while also trying to prevent Mattie from being eaten. Lash and Buteo have their own little scuffle and everyone is occupied, including Gaunt, who waits on them with a game of solitaire. Somehow Bork survives everything and rips off Stell's hand, but her wrist contains a flamethrower which she uses to light him up. Apparently he's also immune to fire, so Stell must run away right over to where Lash is about to execute Buteo because he doesn't hit women. Stell comes running through, tackling her man out of the way, and Lash accidentally electrocutes Bork with her whip instead. The immortal dimwit isn't happy, so chases her out of the movie and into the sequel while Stell asks Buteo if he can give her a hand. Jack and Red-Eye continue their shootout until our hero can disarm the Lizardman and scare away the scorpion. He frees Mattie, who must sit this one out while her butt recovers, and has a fist fight with the villain alongside Scorpion Gorge. Red-Eye gets the upper hand and shoots Jack with a laser, but the new Marshal pulls out his badge and shoves it into his good eye. The blind lizard stumbles around until Gaunt walks up and pulls the badge out, causing him to fall off the cliff into the gorge. The waiting scorpions make sure there's nothing left to regenerate this time when they rip Red-Eye in half and eat him. Zack accepts his responsibility as the new Marshal of Oblivion and increases the population sign to include himself and Buteo. They forget to remove all of the people who they killed earlier and return to clean up the town with their new friends. And the movie ends.